Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. This past weekend, Saturday the 3rd of May, was our local game store GamesHub tournament. 2k points as usual. I took the same list as I took at the previous event. So Gary's captain with double fist, with 6 aggressors, in a Spartan, Terminator Librarian with 5 Terminators, 2 intercessor squads, 1 with a lieutenant, 2 heavy intercessor squads. I think now 2 redemptive dreadnoughts, 1 onslaught cannon, 1 plasma cannon. Inceptors, that's the thing I'm trying to remember. Inceptors and eradicators. And we had 7 people. So Mr. Julian, the game store owner, had to jump in at the last minute. We had an interesting mix of armies. For the first round, I pulled Mr. Julian himself with his Death Watch. Don't often get to play against Mr. Julian or Death Watch for that matter, so this was kind of good. And he took, I should point out, I took Anvil Siege Force as normal. He brought his Black Spear Task Force, which is what he usually plays. And normally I don't do well against the Death Watch. They normally absolutely ruffle stomp me. So I was like, this is going to be interesting. Mission-wise, where are we? Tipping Point, Prepared Positions, and the Ritual. I'm trying to remember what was in the Death Watch list. I remember there was like, they all kind of blend into one for me because they're all kind of mixed squads. But there was the usual Terminators with the rocket, with the Cyclone missile launchers. Lots of weird squads. I never remember. So Tipping Point, Paired Positions, and the Ritual. The Ritual is notoriously, I find, a low-scoring game. And this was no different. In fact, I think between us, we only put down 1 ritual objective each. I think that's right. But this time round, as opposed to the normal times that I play against the Death Watch, I took some losses, but I really sort of burnt through a lot of what Julian had on the table, surprisingly. Basically managing to blast him off of the objectives and managing to get models towing onto them quite a bit, and seizing control. So at the end of 5 rounds, neither of us particularly had a lot left on the table, and I managed to achieve a 34-18 win. Bear in mind, I will just remind people that for our local store tournaments, we don't include the painting requirement, the painting points, to try and get people to come in and play, whereas they might not have a fully painted army yet. So technically at the end of this, it should be 10 points higher each, but 34-18. Very low scoring, very brutal. A win for me. I will not, turn my nose up, especially when it's a rare one. I think this is only the 2nd time I've ever beaten Death Watch. So on my road to victory. Round 2, and Mr. Paul and his extremely strange Renegade Raiders list for CSM. When I say extremely strange, well, let's go through his list. Vashtor, Be'lakor, Cypher, a Lord of Skulls, a unit of cultists, a unit of noise marines, a unit of bikes, a hell brute, and 2 forge fiends. I think that was everything. And I'm sitting there going, what on earth am I facing here? Where has all this come from? And how on earth does this fit into some sort of narrative lore perspective? In the end, we sort of agreed that maybe Be'lakor had dropped down to kill Steel from Vashtor, and that's why he was there. Mission for this was Dawn of War, so across table, Inspired Leadership, and Unexploded Ordnance, which is the horrible, horrible original servo skulls. basically, this was a nightmare for me. I started off reasonably okay. I blasted away most of the bikes. I killed off the cultists. I dropped Cypher, and then everything else went wrong. Pretty much the Noise Marines and the Forge Fiends were blowing my units off the table. The Lord of Skulls pummeled the Spartan to death, and yeah, pretty much spudded on that one. So at the end of that, again, before painting scores, 90 to 26 to Mr. Paul and his bizarre Renegade Raiders list. A very good, interesting game. Very bizarre, very unusual. Still trying to get my noggin around it. There was just too many hard-hitting things to deal with. And when you have something like that, me taking the Spartan, it managed to chip some wounds off of the Lord of Skulls, but then pretty much everything else is going to basically flay that tank alive, which is what happened. One cool thing that came out of this game, though, is we decided at the end, for a bit of fun, we would have Be'lakor and Vashdor duke it out. I took Be'lakor because obviously, he's the hero. And before Vashdor got to do anything, 24 mortal wounds, Be'lakor for the win. I claim that as a moral victory for the day, even though it had no relevance to the game whatsoever. I take that win. Lastly, I was kind of hoping that I would end up drawing against young Mr. Thomas, who I often play against his White Scars, but it was not to be. Instead, I got a war horde of orcs coming at me. Was not prepared for this. So I don't think there was any special characters in this, no epic heroes. It was just, there was no vehicles either. It was just a massive wall of bodies. Green, ugly, shouty, chanty bodies. For this, it was Hammer and Anvil, Swift Action, and the mission was Terraform. And pretty much as he got the first turn, his orcs were up there. I managed to blast them off of the objectives before they could do anything, and then just this wall of bodies come over the hill. And he basically terraformed all three middle objectives before I could do anything about it. There was a lot of shooting, a lot of crumping, and the war horde took a decent 83-24 before paint score win. Neither of us had a lot left on the table. I think mine was just a Terminator Librarian and Terminator squad, and he was probably only about 2.5 squads. Everything else got absolutely mullered. So my score was basically secondary objectives. Normally I complain about how hard orcs are to take down, and they were in this game, but actually being able to decimate that many showed that maybe, depending on opponent and mission and everything else, maybe it is doable for my Marines. I think having things like strength 5 for the heavy bolt rifles and heavy bolter really helped. The aggressors did really well, punching their weight and killing a unit pretty much over a turn and a half. Really good game, really good game. Ultimately, at the end of this, out of 8 people, I came 6th. First place was Mr. Paul with his strange Chaos Space Marines. Orcs came 2nd. Chaos Knights 3rd. Craftworld Eldari in 4th place. Grey Knights in 5th. Then me. Then the White Scars, Mr. Thomas. And lastly, Mr. Julian with 3 losses with his Deathwatch. Shocking. Deathwatch normally do just a little bit better. So we had a really good day's gaming. A lot of fun. I'd have liked to have got a second win out of that, get a little bit higher up the table. The same list did a lot better last time. I think if I just scroll back to last month, that same list took me to 3rd, 2 wins and a loss. So it's a little disappointing it didn't achieve the same result this time, but an absolute wonderful day's gaming. And hopefully I can make the next one. Work is trying to be a pain in the arse and get in the way of my gaming, and I will not have it. So hopefully there'll be a June tournament report sort of thing. I think my colleagues are going to cover my shift so I can get away and do it, but I'll let you know. Anyway, thank you to GamesHub for hosting. Thank you to all the people that I faced, and commiserations to all the people who didn't get to play me. Mr. Interactive victory points. And an absolute wonderful day. Thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys soon in another video. I know it's been a little bit long in coming. I'm just struggling with the video I am doing, but I will see you soon. Take care.